John, welcome back on Sherdog. How are you today, sir?
I'm doing good. How are you doing?
I'm fine. I'm fine. Thanks for asking. How was your flight to Australia?
It was good. It was just a little bit long, but it was good.
And what did you do during your flight, to enjoy the moment, to spend some time?
In the airplane, I just slept. I just try to stay relaxed and sleep. A lot of meditation.
Oh, nice, nice. So, uh, when you landed in Australia, did you deal with jet lag? Did you have any problems, or it was just fine for you?
I've been traveling for a while now, so I was mentally prepared, and also my body it got accustomed very quick, so which I was happy. I landed to Australia and I got straight to work.
Oh, nice, nice, nice. So, are you enjoying Sydney? Did you do anything in particular so far, in addition to training, of course, and preparing for the fight?
I want to go visit I want to go visit the city. Sydney has been very nice, good, friendly people. There's a big Lebanese community over here, so it was good to catch up with my native Lebanese Arabic nationality. So it was good to see some guys over here, and I did a couple of interviews, local interviews as well. So, and I was visiting the city, very beautiful city.
Do you still have relatives in Lebanon?
Majority of I have a lot of relatives in Lebanon. There's 90%. A lot of my family members on both sides are still living in Lebanon.
How is the situation over there? I know that the past few years have been rough for Lebanon, after the explosion at the port in Beirut, some rough times in general. What can you tell us about that?
From my understanding, the economy crashed ever since COVID. A lot of my aunts, uncles, a lot of my relatives, they told me it's been very tough. The money, with the monetary system, it crashed. It's apparently, it's inflation. There's an inflation, and also apparently people lost a lot of money they lost their money in the banks, having their money in the. So it's pretty crazy. It's wild, to be honest. It's very hard to hear that because you work your whole life. We you work your whole life, and then imagine you work your whole life and you save up your money and you have all these things, and then in a minute, in a matter of a couple of years, you lose everything.
It sounds rough, and I can only guess what these people have been through. So, hopefully, fingers crossed for Lebanon. I never been there, but I heard a lot of great stories about Lebanon, and I also have a friend from there. So, hopefully, one day I'll be there.
But Lebanon is a beautiful place. It's a nightlife. Great, beautiful people, culture, very friendly. It's a nice place, unfortunately with the war and the economy, but they used to call it they used to call it paradise of the Middle East.
Hopefully, one day. Right now, you're scheduled to take on Jamie Mullarkey at the upcoming UFC 293. How was your camp at Fight Ready?
Yes, I've been, Fight Ready has been something spectacular. I've been in the game for a long time. I've been fighting in the UFC for 13 years. I went to different training camps. For me, fighting has always been something where I had to deprive myself from comfort. So I had to, I put myself for this fight. I just went to Arizona. I went to Fight Ready. I heard about, Henry Cejudo, Henry Corrales. There's the coaching, Eddie Shah. I heard a lot of things, so I just wanted to try to see if I would fit. And it's been something. It's crazy what they done with me in the matter of a short period of time. I feel like I'm a newborn. And as a fighter, I think that's the hardest part, because the older you get, you develop certain habits, certain tendencies. So I was very happy to be able to, to feel like I've been learning and improving, and also getting better, which is dangerous at this point in my career. I feel like a new fighter, and I'm I've been working extensively to make sure that Fight Night I'm gonna be very aggressive and let the bull out. In the past couple of my fights, mentally, I felt like there was a blockage, and you see in my performance. Anybody that knows me, anyone that been following me for a while in my fighting career, it's always been a mental thing. If it's like, if you're not happy in your personal life, you have a lot of, it can kind of reflect in your performance. So this time around, I'm gonna let everything out in the octagon.
I was at UFC Paris last year when you last fought. What happened that night?
I just was not on. It was weird. I don't like to make excuses, but uh, just the way just the way the person wrapped my hands, it played psychological game with me. Like wherever wrapped my hands did not wrap my hands, and it was weird. Like it's the energy is strange. It's hard to explain. To get good energy, a good vibe before walking out to perform at the best. Like the electric energy is so important, and sometimes I fight negative energy, so I needed to kind of really work on that aspect of the game is to how to like not let outside external things bother me, and also seeing Faraz Zahabi in the other guy's corner. He's like a brother to me, I have a lot of respect for him. It was hard for me, there's a lot of things that it was hard for me to challenge, surpass, and breaking my hand the first round was also tough because that was the jab is one of my arsenals, and I could not jab the same way. I broke my hand. I shattered my bone in pieces the first round. I had to get operated on both of my hands.
I guess you are feeling better now, but how was the process to recover from that injury?
Yeah, of course, I've been suffering. If I've been suffering. Like I had a couple of injuries, but I'm very lucky. Everything is perfect. I couldn't ask for a better preparation. I feel alive. I feel newborn. I feel excited. It's been a long time I felt like this.
So do you think that your injury is related to the way your hand was wrapped before the fight?
There's a lot of changes in UFC, and I believe before I would always get wrapped with this. I would get my hands wrapped by a professional, one of the best hand wrappers in the UFC. His name was Rudney. I don't know if you remember back in the old days. Rudney, he was a boxing corner. He used to work with pro boxers. Because I'm a striker, I truly believe the way you wrap your hands is very important, especially if I'm going to punch hard. You have to make sure the hand wraps are like perfect. You know what I mean? But for sure, it's been 100%. I mean, I don't know if you've been watching, but lately there's a lot of injuries, hand wrap injuries. I don't know if that's a coincidence, but
yeah, I understand. I understand your point. So you were mentioning some of the changes in your professional life, and I've just seen that you also posted on Instagram that you have signed with a new management. You are now one of the Iridium fighters. So may I ask you, how come did you switch management?
yeah, actually, I had a lot of changes this camp. I also worked. I'm also working with millions.co. If you can see here, the merch, they've been very helpful. Um, Management, why change with management? It's not a question of changing. It's just a question of being. I want to be with people that want to work with me. It's not just okay. Well, it's business. I want to feel like just like in anything in life, it has to be receptive. I mean, I like to feel people actually care and they want to work with me and they're passionate. I'm a very passionate person, so I like to work with people who are also passionate and are hard workers and they're dedicated. And Jason House, he's been good to me. So I'm very happy. And this is the first time I'm actually with a real management company. Before I was just working with a guy who I started with, but and then he kind of he wasn't really passionate. He was like a hobby for him.
And how confident are you that your UFC contract will be renewed, since I heard that this is going to be the last fight on this contract with the UFC?
I don't focus on that. That's out of my control. The contracts and fights. I've been in UFC for 13 years. there's not too many guys can say that. Every fight for me is like my last fight on the contract, to be honest. So, and I don't really let my brain focus on that. You know, my goal is to go out there and perform and give the fans an exciting fight and to win in a spectacular fashion. Like I know I can.
At this point in your career and in your life, is there still anyone you would like to face?
I mean, in the back of my mind, you know, when I'm alone, you know, I always like to have rematches, you know, of my last decision losing. You know, when I sometimes lose by decision, sometimes it can haunt you. You know, my last defeats were, you know, they can haunt you sometimes, and I would always, you know, in the back of my mind, of course, I would ideally would like to have rematches from my past opponents, you know, to rematch them, but it's just something that, you know, that's not up to me to decide.
Of course. And is there, you know, among your past opponents, is there anyone in particular you would like to, you know, in an ideal world, I know that we're not living in a perfect world, but in a perfect world, is there anyone in particular you would like to face?
Yeah, of course. I would love to redo the fight with Nasrat, with Lando Vannata, you know, a couple of guys, but, you know, talking about it right now.
It sounds good. Before I let you go, can I ask you a prediction for the main event, Israel Adesanya or Sean Strickland? Which one is going with the belt home, with the middleweight championship home?
You know, I'm Israel is, you know, obviously Izzy is he's a legend. Obviously, you know, it's at that highest level, it's mental, you know. So every fighter has a chance. It's not the best fighter that wins, it's the fighter that fights the best on that specific night wins. So I never like to predict fights. You know, I'm not a guy who predicts fights because I'm a fighter and anything can happen. You know, you can go in the backstage, someone can look at you the wrong way. You know, you something's, you know, you eat the food and that day you wake up and you're like, what's going on? You know, your body can't, it's crazy how there's so many things have to align, you know. But you know, you have a puncher's chance and then you have a real martial artist. You know, of course, you know, I know on paper Izzy should win because of his tactics and his long range, you know, but every puncher has a chance. So it's, I feel, you know, it's gonna be interesting. It's gonna be an interesting fight.
I agree with that. Sorry, I was smiling because I was thinking, so should I not ask a prediction for your fight then?
You can ask for sure. You know, all I know is that it's gonna be fireworks. You know, first round, second round, third round. You know, I'm gonna go out there for the kill. You know, my goal is to knock him out and to finish him in his home country.
I'm pretty sure it will be quite an entertaining fight. John, thank you very much for giving us a little bit of your time today. Best of luck with your upcoming fight, and hopefully I will hear again from you in the future.
Thank you very much.
Have a nice one. Bye-bye.